Okay. Hi. So today we're going to read the chapter 2 of the book, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. And I will now share my screen. Okay. So chapter 2, Chasing Down the Shadow. The shadow wears many faces: fearful, greed, angry, vindictive, evil, selfish, manipulative, lazy, controlling, hostile, ugly, undeserving, cheap, weak, critical, judgmental. The list goes on and on. Our dark side acts as a storehouse for all these unacceptable aspects of ourselves, all the things we pretend not to be, and all the aspects that embarrass us. These are the faces we don't want to show the world and the faces we don't want to show ourselves. Everything we hate, resist, or disown about ourselves takes on a life of its own, undermining our feelings of worthiness. When we come face to face with our dark side, our first instinct is to turn away, and our second is to bargain with it to leave us alone. Many of us have spent vast amounts of time and money in an effort to do just that. Ironically, it's these hidden aspects we've rejected that need the most attention. When we locked away those parts of ourselves we didn't like unknowingly, we scaled away our most valuable treasures. These valuable, these valuables are therefore hidden where we would least expect to find them. They are hidden in the dark. These treasures try desperately to emerge, to come to our attention, but we are conditioned to push them back down, like giant beach balls being held underwater. These aspects pop back up to the surface whenever we take the pressure off. By choosing not to allow parts of ourselves to exist, we are forced to expend huge amounts of psychic energy to keep them beneath the surface. Poet and author Robert Bly, I don't know, describes the shadow as an invisible bag that each of us carries around our own on our backs, around on our backs. As we are growing up, we put in the bag every aspect of ourselves that's not acceptable to our families and friends. Bly believes we spend the first few decades of our lives filling up our bags and spend the rest of our lives trying to retrieve everything we put in our bag in an effort to lighten our burdens. Most people are afraid to confront and embrace their darkness, but it's in that very darkness you will find the happiness and fulfillment you have been longing for. When you take the time to discover your whole self, you will open the door to true enlightenment. One of the biggest pitfalls of the information age uh, is the "I know that" syndrome. Knowing often prevents us from experiencing. through our hearts. Shadow work is not intellectual. It's a journey from the head to the heart. Many on the path to self-improvement believe they have completed the process but are unwilling to see the truth about themselves. Most of us long to see the light and to live in the beauty of our highest self. But we try to do this without integrating all of ourselves. We can't have the full experience of the light without knowing the dark. The dark side is the gatekeeper to true freedom. Each of us must be willing to continually explore and expose this aspect of self. Whether you like it or not, if you're a human, you have a shadow. If you can't see it, just ask the people in your family or the people you work with. They will point it out to you. We think that our masks keep our inner selves hidden. But whatever we refuse to recognize about ourselves has a way of rearing its head and making itself known when we least expect it. So, discovering our dark parts, our shadows, is not an intellectual thing. It's a sentimental thing. It's something to be done with the heart. So, for example, well, we are going to see that every aspect that I reject in others is also in me, and it's also something that I try to hide from myself, from others, from everybody. And sometimes we can't see it. We don't realize that the same aspect we see and point out in others are the same things we have. And we are critical about ourselves. And we try not to be this way. So this book is about knowing this aspect and feeling everything you have to feel about this is to experience the taste of being your shadow. And that leads us to a very good feeling when we are accepting our shadows. We are accepting our wholeness. Okay, so continuing. Embracing an aspect of yourself means loving it, allowing it to coexist with all your other aspects, not making it more or less than any other part of yourself. It's not enough to say, I know I am controlling. We must see what controlling has to teach us, what gift it brings, and then we must be able to view it with awe and compassion. Okay, the word oh, I mispronounced it. Awe means a feeling of great respect and admiration, often combined with fear. So we must be able to view it with this admiration and fear and compassion. We live under the impression that in order for something to be divine, it has to be perfect. We're mistaken. In fact, the exact opposite is true. To be divine is to be whole. And to be whole is to be everything, the positive and the negative, the good and the bad, the whole man and the devil. When we take the time to discover our shadow and its gifts, we will understand what young men meant by the gold is in the dark. Each of us needs to find that gold in order to reunite with our sacred self. When I was growing up, I was told there were two kinds of people in the world, good and bad. Like most children, I worked to show off my good qualities and tried hard to hide my bad ones. I desperately wanted to get rid of all those parts of myself that were unacceptable to my mother, father, sister, and brother. As I got older, more people came into my life with all their opinions, and I realized there was even more of myself I had to hide. At night, I often lay awake trying to figure out why I was such a bad girl. How was it possible that I had been cursed with so many awful qualities? I worried about my sister and brother, who also had many deficiencies to overcome. Just a moment. Okay. Who also had many deficiencies to overcome. Anytime one of us showed any shortcoming, we would get in trouble. I was told that the people down the street in the county jail were there because they had qualities that got them in trouble. I wanted to make sure I would not end up looking through bars to see my family and friends. So early on, I figured that the best way to be accepted was to hide these undesirable parts of myself, which sometimes meant lying. My dream was to be perfect in order to be loved. So when I didn't brush my teeth, I lied. And when I ate more than my share of cookies, I lied. And when I beat my sister, I lied. And by the time I was 3 or 4, I did not even realize I was lying because I had already started lying to myself. So, yeah, this is something awesome, right? Awful, right? Today I saw in my Instagram, uh, a text, a message like, um, whatever is in your heart, it's real. What's not in your heart is just appearance, something like that. Now, I read it in Portuguese. I'm trying to translate. But what it meant is what I really feel, what really vibrates on my heart, that's the truth, that's real. What's just in the mental aspect, in the mental plane, this is fantasy. This is appearance. This is what I want to show to others, not what I am. So the question here, not the question, but the point here is to be real, is to be honest with yourself, firstly, with yourself. So we're going to be aware of our shadows and try hard to be to love these shadows, to be sweet with ourselves. And of course, I must be aware of my shadows, but it doesn't mean that I have to be so tough with myself, for example. I mean, well, as long we are going to accept more and more aspects of our personality, we are going to see that, well, we are the wholeness. We have good and bad inside us. This is the divine, right? To be perfect. What is to be perfect? It's to be complete. It should be everything, not just the good part. And well, sometimes we're going to see that these bad parts are going to be very useful sometimes. And when we can love these parts, these bad parts we call, it's easier to use it uh, in favor, in our favor. Got it? Okay. I was told, don't be angry, don't be selfish, don't be mean, don't be greedy. Don't be was the message I internalized. I started to believe I was a bad person because sometimes I was mean, and sometimes I got angry, and sometimes I wanted all the cookies. Okay, so that's what I was talking about. Sometimes I got angry, yeah. Sometimes I am mean, yeah. Sometimes I want all the cookies to myself. I don't want to share, and that's okay. Well, Tantra teach us to observe what we feel. Well, if I got angry, this is a feeling, right? It's a feeling. So feel. Don't act, or maybe wait until you act, but feel, feel. And look at this. The message is don't be. Don't be. Don't be like repress yourself. Don't leave. You know it. So when you can't be, you can't live. Do you know how is to feel that you can't breathe, for example? You can't breathe freely. Like, you know it? So be, be, be. That's the message. Okay? Don't repress yourself. But you must understand that sometimes uh, not to repress yourself doesn't mean act like a crazy person. No, but feel and accept your emotions, your feelings. That's it. I believed that to survive in my family and in the world, I would have to get rid of these impulses. So I did. Slowly, I shoved them so far back into my consciousness that I forgot they were there at all. These bad qualities became my shadow, and the older I got, the further back I pushed them. By the time I was a teenager, I had shut down so much of myself that I was a walking time bomb waiting to explode on anyone who got in my way. Along with the so-called bad qualities, I had also pushed back all their positive opposites. I could never experience myself as beautiful because I spent so much time trying to hide my ugliness. I could never feel good about my generosity because it was just a mask to cover my greed. I lied about who I was. I lied to myself about what I was capable of achieving. I lost access to all of who I was. Because I had worked so hard to shut myself down, I had no patience for others who might be exposing their imperfections. I became intolerant and judgmental. As far as I was concerned, no one was good enough. The world was an awful place, and everyone in it was in trouble. So, what can you see in this vision? When a person feel like this, the whole world is not good enough. This person is judging everything. The brain is acting too much, is working too much, and the brain is repressing the feeling, the heart. So I just want you to understand that we are going to try to feel more and judge less, think less, to be more present, to be more observant. I believed my problems were being imposed on me because I was born into the wrong family, had the wrong friends, the wrong face, the wrong body, lived in the wrong town, and went to the wrong school. Oh, that's nice to point out. Well, our friends mainly, well, we are vibrating. Do you know the law of attraction? You know, like in The Secret, the book of the Birney. I don't know. I can't remember the name. Honda Birney, I think. Uh, the secret is that what you think and you give it emotion to it. You give energy to it. You are co-creating this. So in The Secret, they say that if you want something very hard, you're going to attract this. What you usually think, talk, live, we're going to attract more of this. So if we just complain about things, we are going to attract problems. If you can if you can be grateful, if you thank others and God about life, about having a house, having a car, having health, so you're going to attract more of this. So please focus on the positive stuff, please. Okay. In my heart, I truly believed these external circumstances were the cause of my loneliness, anger, and discontent. I thought if only I had been born into wealth like I deserved, lived in Europe, and went to boarding school, if only I had the right clothes and a big bank account, my world would be fine. All my troubles would vanish. I had fallen into the all too familiar trap of if only. If only this was like that, everything would be okay. Do you understand, right? Can you see the trap here? You must firstly see the world within, inside you, because the world within changes the world out. It would be okay. This delusion didn't last long. When the fantasy dried up, I was faced with my worst nightmare. I found out that all I was me, skinny, imperfect, middle class, angry, and selfish. It has taken me 17 years to come to terms with all of who I am. The brilliant and the beautiful, and the beautiful, the imperfect and the flawed. And it still takes work, even to this day. The reason for doing shadow work is to become whole, to end our suffering, to stop hiding ourselves from ourselves. Once we do this, we can stop hiding from the rest of the world. Our society nurtures the illusion that all the rewards go to the people who are perfect. But many of us are finding out that trying to be perfect is costly. The consequences of emulating the perfect person can eat away at us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I've worked with so many people, so many good people who suffered from various diseases, addictions, depression, insomnia, and dysfunctional relationships. They are people who never get angry, never put themselves first, never even pray for themselves. Some of their bodies are riddled with cancer, and they don't know why. Buried in their bodies, stuffed far back in their minds, are all their dreams, anger, sadness, and desires. They are raised to put themselves last because that is what good people do. Oh, that's what good people do. Good people go to hell, you know? Good people go to hell. The hardest thing for them is to break free from this conditioning, to find out who they really are, because they are deserving of their own love. They are deserving of forgiveness and compassion, and therefore deserving enough to express their anger and their selfishness. Within ourselves, we possess every trait and its polar opposite, every human emotion and impulse. We have to uncover, own, and embrace all of who we are, the good and bad, dark and light, strong and weak, and honest and dishonest. If you believe you are weak, then you must seek out its opposite and find your strength. If you are ruled by fear, you must go within and find your courage. If you're a okay, stop. So about fear and courage, there is a book, a very nice book. I don't know the name in English. It's like an interview with the devil. This book is from Napoleon Hill. Sorry, when I think in Portuguese, thinking in English, oh, that mixed up everything. This book, the guy says that we have like two entities inside us. We have like brain, ego based on brain, based on fear, and yeah, I don't know how to say escassez, but I will look for it. Scarcity. Yeah, like when something is missing, you know, or you have few of resources. Okay, so this is our brain, our ego, and then we have like another part, another entity, maybe, I don't know, the soul, I don't know, but the soul is based on not in fear but in love, in faith. So if we can see our fear, if we can see fear inside us, look for your faith. You have it. It's in there somewhere, but it's in there. In this book of Napoleon Hill, he says that he passed through a situation where he felt so much fear for 1 year. He was scared. He was thinking someone was going to kill him. And when he was like in the bottom of the well, I don't know how to say it in English, this expression, but when he was so messed up, feeling so bad after this 1 year, just feeling fear, scared, he was finally capable of finding his faith, his soul, his the another entity, not based on mind, but in heart. Let me say heart. So, okay, if you are ruled by fear, you must go within and find your courage. If you are a victim, you must find the victimizer inside you. It is your birthright to be whole, to have it all. It only takes a shift in your perception, an opening of your heart. When you can say, I am that, to the deepest, darkest aspect of yourself, then you can reach true enlightenment. It's not until we fully embrace the dark that we can embrace the light. I've heard it's said that shadow work is the path of the heart warrior. It takes us to a new place in our consciousness where we have to open our hearts to all of ourselves and to all of humanity. Yeah, you have to be humble to accept your flaws, your imperfections. You have to be strong to confess that you are weak. In a recent seminar, okay, so I meant to be perfect, to be good, to be whole, you must accept the shadows, the dark side. In a recent seminar, a woman stood up crying. Her name was Audrey. She was in tremendous pain. She had terrible thoughts. She admitted and was ashamed and embarrassed to share them, because then we would know she was a truly bad person. After a long discussion, she finally confessed that she hated her daughter. She was so upset I could hardly hear what she was saying. She repeated it softly, over and over. I hate my daughter. Everyone in the room was looking at her, some with compassion, others in horror. I worked with Audrey for a while, explaining that if hate was what she was feeling, it was okay. She needed to accept the hate she felt for her daughter. I asked how many other people in the room had children. Almost everyone raised a hand. I asked them to close their eyes and try to remember a time when they might have felt hate for their children. Everyone found at least one memory of feeling hate. Then I had them imagine what gift hate could give them. Some said sanity, some said love, others said release of emotion. Everyone saw that they had no control over the emotion itself. Even when they didn't want to feel hate, they felt it sometimes. Yeah, in another book from Louise Hay that I'm reading in Portuguese, uh, she teaches to work with the hate, not with the hate, with the anger. And she says that one woman that was doing this treatment, the mirror treatment, worked with anger and to not to repress this anger, but to release every hate, every anger, every bad feeling we repress in ourselves, right? To release it. So this woman said bad things for her daughter and mother. And this woman, after, well, this was in this day that she she realized she had so much anger inside her, accumulated. So she released this anger, and after that she was able to really love the daughter and the mother. Actually, in the next time this woman saw his daughter, she couldn't stop uh, hugging her daughter, because she was so, I don't know, light, maybe, you know, when you don't have any more having heavy uh, heavy feelings, heavy, I don't know, weights. You don't need to carry these weights anymore. And she was able to really love, to hug with love, with how do you say carinho? Affection, yeah, care, affection. Okay, where was I? Said sanity. Everyone saw that they had no control over the emotion itself. Even when they didn't want to feel hate, they felt it sometimes. Seeing that she was not alone helped Audrey give herself permission to feel hate without judgment. I explained that we all needed to hate to know love, and that hate only has power when it's suppressed or denied. I asked Audrey what would happen if she embraced her hateful feelings and waited to find their gifts instead of suppressing them. She still looked ashamed, her head down, so I told her a story. Okay, I will stop here for today. This is a chapter a little bit longer, so we can split it in 2 or 3 maybe. Well, if you are watching it until here, the whole video, I ask you to share some comments about what you think, uh, how, what are you experiencing in this reading of this book. If you have any suggest, if I should talk less and just read, or I don't know, make any suggest in comments. I am online every Thursday. In Brazilian time zone, it's 8 p.m. You can see the group on Facebook. The name is the name of the book, The Dark Side of Light Chasers. And well, my name is Matthew. Please give a suggestion and you can participate online with me. Okay? So that's it for today. See you